to the next clip.
Awesome. Well, let's check out the next.
It's in Middle Hill.
And he's 3 years older than you.
He's 3 years older than me.
And he asked you to be his girlfriend 6 months ago?
He asked me to be his girlfriend at game night, and I said yes. Got patient waiting for a doctor, 3113.
Okay, I'll be right there. Did Adam ask you if you wanted to have sex?
Mel, I don't know if I can tell you.
Of course you can tell me, I'm your sister.
Well, it's private.
Look, it's really important that I know.
Why?
Because.
Well, I can tell Dr. Langdon because Dr. Langdon's my doctor, but I don't think I can tell you.
Becca, just tell me.
Why are you yelling?
I'm not yelling. It's just, look, it's really important that I know.
You're definitely yelling.
Becca.
Maybe we should step outside for a minute.
Why won't you tell me?
Dr. King, why don't you get some air?
Sorry.
Yeah, so just give a little backstory. So that's Dr. King and it's her sister. We've seen her sister before previous episodes. It's someone that she's like, very protective of, someone she really cares about. And I always say sometimes like the hardest role you play as a physician is like not being a physician. Like you have a family member that comes in while you're working at that or to your department. And you being a physician, you kind of gonna want to know what's going on with their care. You might even try to like dictate their care a little bit as well, and then being the colleague that is taking care of like the family member, you're kind of put into like a situation because there can be like this like this pressure or even sometimes like intimidation from your colleague because you're taking care of their family member. But you have to remember that like your duty is to the patient. You have to protect HIPAA. You have to protect the patient's autonomy. But by doing that, you may also disappoint your colleague by like not involving them in their care. And I just want to say like for like people out there, like just because your family member is a doctor, it does not entitle them to your medical information or your care. And I say that to a doctor as well. If your family member comes to a hospital, if they don't want you involved in their care, it's probably for reasons, probably some private, because I'm pretty sure we all know I get calls from family members all the time asking me medical questions. So if they want your advice, they're going to ask you for it, and, you should just let the doctor that's treating your family do what they have to do. Of course, if they're not doing something right, you can advocate for your family member as well. It's no problem with that. But on top of that, if you are a physician and taking care of a colleague's family member, you have to just kind of like be clear, be professional, and just also don't assume that doctor has permission to be a part of their medical care. Ask them first, and also make it clear boundaries that, hey, I'm here to do what's right by the patient, and I'm going to take care of the patient first. And so just wondering if you guys ever had any instance. I've taken care of people's family members before, and you kind of like want to have them involved, but you don't know how close to get them involved and like what they want the family to know. So it kind of like it makes some like uneasy tension sometimes taking care of people's families that you're close to and that you know.
Yeah, it's gone awkward. I remember one circumstance where it was like a doctor had their family member, and then they came around to like where I was sitting and be like, "Hey, how are things looking?" And then it's like kind of awkward because you know this person, so you don't want to just straight up be like, "Well, I'm not going to tell you." And so I handle it by saying like, "Hey, well, let's go to the room, and I'll update both of y'all together." But yeah, like it doesn't matter who that person is, their spouse, kid, their parent. Everyone has HIPAA, and you can't break that. And even like during like training when you join a new hospital and whatnot, they kind of tell you like you can't look up like your brother's health records in the EMR just because you have access to it, and everything is being recorded. And if that ever gets audited and you did it without like actually being in the direct chain of care, which you're not because they're your family member, you can get in serious trouble for that.
Yeah. And one thing I'll add just for anyone who's listening, you also have the right to ask your own family to step out. And in pediatrics especially, I've come up against this so many times, especially in the emergency room where things are kind of high stakes, where there are people in the room. And every time I come in, I sort of have to take stock that maybe everyone who's in the room might not need to be in the room, but also that family might not want. So I always ask like, hi, who's in the room? And then I say, is it okay to discuss things, or do you want some privacy? We usually ask for privacy just to give the family, like, we're the one, it's hospital policy. Usually it's like, we are giving you the out to ask for people to step out if you needed it. And then also in mother baby, this comes up a lot where like, the baby has certain risk factors based on mom's personal private health. But there might be so many people even in the room, even their own partner, who might not know things about their health. So you have to be really mindful. And the patient always has the right to ask people to step out. And as any clinicians who are listening, always be mindful that, you might be saying something that the family or the patient might not want said. And then even more so when you have teenagers, they have the right to their own health with a lot of aspects, and even children who are not teenagers, if something the safety concerning is happening at home, you definitely want to find some time to talk to that child privately. It's just the amount of just social awareness you need to have when you're in medicine is kind of bonkers. And I wish we taught, to go back to medical education, I wish we taught a class about understanding social dynamics, because it's so critical, more than people even recognize or acknowledge.